Alright guys, it's time for the grand finale of our discussion on all these leaked commentary audio files for Street Fighter 6 that basically give us hints and reveal moves for characters that haven't been released yet. So it's been a really long journey, Mir, and if you guys missed out on any of these videos that we have done, they're all on the channel. We've covered JP, Manong, Marisa, Lily, Cammy, and Zangief. And so it all ends up to this point now. The grand finale, Mir, we're going to be talking about Dee Jay. And I guess I should start off by saying, how did Dee Jay make it in this game, Mir? I put him on a super low tier as a chance, but he wasn't the most popular character.
I don't know. I think people still enjoyed this design. It never struck me as the kind of character that people actively dislike. Maybe forgettable in Street Fighter 4, like you said, because of his tier placement, but all the way back to Street Fighter 2, I mean, he was pretty good in that game.
Yeah.
Famously, he had touch a stun just by jumping in on you.
Like a lot of characters did.
yeah, absolutely. But he was pretty good. So I think Street Fighter 4 made him a disservice by having everyone remember him for being bad. And he wasn't even like the worst character. It was just profoundly mediocre at everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad they're adding more Street Fighter 2 characters anyways. That seems to be the most popular title for them to add characters. So let's discuss Dee Jay first, Mir. We don't know much about his story, but one of the lines is, he's been away from the series for a bit, but that cheerful nature of his hasn't gone anywhere. Does anything get him down?
He's been away from the series for a bit, but that cheerful nature of his hasn't gone anywhere. Does anything get him down?
And we can see from the leaked picture, Mir, that he's smiling. He's got huge, vibrant colors, you know, sporting Jamaican colors, Jamaican flag literally on his whole, like, pants.
Yeah, I mean, this has always been what Dee Jay has been, right? Like, this always smiling character. I like his new hairstyle, too. I think it fits him perfectly. The headband, the flip-flops. He's got everything ready for a beach party.
He's got the headphones. Too bad there's not the maximum on his pants, but they put it on his necklace now. You can see it says maximum.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's interesting.
I guess I should mention a piece of trivia that someone might not be aware of. The reason why they put maximum on his pants originally in Street Fighter 2 is because it actually reads the same both on the left and the right side, because they were unable to flip sprites in Street Fighter 2 without having them mirrored on the other side, which is why Gala has the flags the wrong way based on where on the screen he is, right? So Maximum was chosen for that. So it's a little bit sad to see it gone, you know?
Right, it's cool because they integrated it with his move list as well. We also know that even though we don't know about his story, Mir, he seems to tie in with some characters. For example, Kimberly strongly hints that she listens to DJ's music. So maybe he has like a record label or his own, you know, albums that he does. Like, he definitely does his own music in some way. I mean, his name is DJ.
Right. I mean, we know that Kimberly really likes 90s hip-hop, I think, if I remember correctly. So I would assume that DJ also produces similar music. Stereotypically, I would imagine something like that would be fit for a beach party, for a dance, right? Obviously, he's dancing and all of that stuff. But maybe Capcom will surprise us with something a little bit different.
And, you know, speaking of the beach party, Mir, there's also a strong chance that DJ will have his own stage. Because if we look at the introduction to the World Tour and all the characters revealed, they show some quick slides on some background stages. And one of them is like a nighttime beach party stage, and I would imagine that stage is actually going to be in the game, and that'll be for DJ. I think that stage looks amazing just from the artwork alone, so I really hope it's in the game.
Yeah, it's very possible. It would be an occasion to show, you know, more background characters. Obviously, we've seen it in some of the stages that we already have, but there's going to be a lot going on in the back, you know, maybe some little Easter eggs, just like on the other stages as well.
So let's jump ahead, Mir, to the special moves. And before we start, I'm just going to play out all the audio files in a row for you guys to take a listen to. And then me and Mir will break it down for you guys.
It's DJ's birthday today. He's been away from the series for a bit, but that cheerful nature of his hasn't gone anywhere. Does anything get him down? Flashes him with a jackknife! Rips the slasher out! Dazzles them with a flurry! Ladies and gentlemen, it's the weekend! Time to punch out! Feeling the beat! Overdrive jackknife sends him down the quick way! The greatest Sobot! Can they build off of it? Fake out! The party's getting started! Weekend pleasure! We're in for a good time! Up into the air off the Just Cool. Saw an opening to bust out the maracas. Rolling Sobot. Burns the gauge and it's showtime! It's the weekend pleasure. Go get up to get down. Speedy maracas, they really want to get this party started. Sunrise Festival. Can they nail the beat? Sunrise Festival. Can they ride the beat to the end? Doesn't pass up the chance for an essay charge with speedy maracas. Air slasher. Bust out the maracas. Yo, you gonna play that game? Sways. Jackknife maximum cuts clean through them. Sunrise Festival. They've got to nail the inputs to keep this up. Oh, feints? Fires off an air slasher. Machine gun uppercut. Drumming up a beatdown. Nice air slasher. Just cool into the low kick. That huge Sobot's got their knees tingling. Maximum strike. That souped up Sobot smokes them extra hard. The rapid fire fist sends them up. The overhead breaks the rhythm and shakes things up. Fakes it! Sobata! Overdrive jackknife. Brings down the waning moon on him. Goes to the funky slicer. Tunes up the band and hits the greatest Sobot. Spins it all on the full meter. You know what that means? It's time for the weekend! What?
So listening to the audio tracks, you guys can hear a lot of familiar moves that DJ has had since Street Fighter 2. And he also seems to have some type of character trait, like a lot of characters do in Street Fighter 6 Mirror. Let's skip ahead and just talk about the special moves first. It'll make it easier to explain things. But another thing too, Mirror, is we've noticed a lot of charge characters in the game have slightly changed to kind of a hybrid style charge. Blanca especially, and maybe even E Honda. And it's no secret that DJ and Guile are very similar characters with their, Sonic Boom and Flash Kick style charge moves. So I would imagine that Capcom would try to make these characters a lot more different this time around, kind of like how they did with Nash and Guile as well. So it's possible, Mirror, that DJ might not be a charge character at all in Street Fighter 6, but I have no evidence behind this.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess there is some evidence in the sense that last time we've seen him in Street Fighter 4 Omega, he wasn't a charge character. Everything was into a motion move. And you can see that a lot of things that they experimented with DJ and that iteration of his were reused for Nash in Street Fighter 5. So it's possible that since Nash is definitely dead now, maybe, that DJ will become kind of like the new Nash function, right? So we'll see how much of that sticks. But for one reason or another, I do think that he's going to still have some charge moves, especially because there's not that many charge characters in, recent Street Fighter. And I feel like Street Fighter 6 would want to have some.
Yeah, I think if just look at the history of Nash and Guile being similar, and they changed Nash a little bit, and then with Omega Mode DJ, there's some hints, and Blanca as well, that they're going to change it up this time around. So keep that in mind, guys, when we read off these moves to you. Okay, so let's start with the first move. Jackknife Maximum returns.
Flashes him with a jackknife. Jackknife maximum cuts clean through him. Overdrive jackknife sends him down the quick way. Overdrive jackknife.
And this is DJ's Flash Kick, his down charge up kick move. This move's a little different than Flash Kick because the main thing, Mirror, is that it juggles. You can even juggle into itself. You can even juggle into super. So it was very scary to jump in on DJ in Street Fighter 2 especially.
And in Street Fighter 4, it actually was a much better anti-air than Flash Kick was, interestingly, because it hit very consistently above DJ's head. However, it didn't have quite the same range and a variety of other issues when it came to comboing into it from like his strings or trying to use it for punishing and such. So it wasn't quite as good, but it still had its niche, I suppose.
Yeah, in Street Fighter 4, man, I remember using the light kick version of the jackknife, and it just did no damage, but it was so much more reliable. But man, DJ's damage was so bad in Street Fighter 4. It was brutal. Okay, the next move, Mirror, is Air Slashes.
Air Slasher! Fires off an Air Slasher! Nice Air Slasher! Rips the Slasher out. Also
return. This is DJ's projectile, his Sonic Boom style move. This is a back charge forward punch. And it works just like a Sonic Boom, Mirror. It's has very, very fast recovery, like a lot of other charge fireball attacks.
Not quite as fast as Guile's, which
not as fast
was kind of the
Sonic
problem
Boom.
because it's both Guile's and DJ's best feature in Street Fighter 4. So it's interesting that DJ's would get the short end of the stick. So maybe this time, assuming that it works a little bit more like Nash's fireball, maybe they'll make it so that one of the versions has fast startup, but a little bit longer recovery, and one has long start but fast recovery, and you can maybe use it in pressure, for example, to maybe get plus on block situation, because not even Gao gets plus on block sonic booms unless he spends OD bar in Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
So maybe this could be something unique to DJ.
Even though Nash's projectile in Street Fighter 5 wasn't a charge, it still behaved in a very similar way, like you said, depending on the strength. I would also imagine that the OD version of DJ's Air Slasher is going to be a lot different than Guile's, right? Guile's is just like a super fast sonic boom that hits multiple times. I would imagine DJ's would be like multiple projectiles, for example.
Again, one of his problems in Street Fighter 4 is that the double hitting projectile was just straight up worse than a double hitting fireball.
Yeah.
But if they make it like Nash, as I was mentioning before, where you can decide whether or not you want to do the follow-up, it could be useful in pressure. It could be useful for corner combos, for example, even mid-screen combos if it moves them forward like Nash's does.
Right.
So hopefully he has that, so that, again, you would get something a little bit more unique that it's just for him.
Now, the third move mirror is another returning special from Street Fighter 2, and that's his double rolling Sobot kick.
Rolling Sobot! That huge Sobot's got their knees tingling! That souped-up Sobot smokes them extra hard! Sobata!
This is a charge back forward kick attack, and it's pretty much just used as a poke and combo filler. Honestly, Mira, I don't find this move that interesting in general. Do you remember how it was in Street Fighter 4?
Well, right. So the idea was that at least the light Sobot you could use to go over pokes. And that's kind of like the unique way that DJ can play in neutrals, because it's difficult to poke him because of the Sobot. And the light Sobot is basically safe if you space it, right? The problem with this move is that it's a charge. So it's difficult to advance and threaten a Sobot. So it kind of like worked against itself, right? It was basically his way of advancing in neutral as well, kind of like Gao's bazooka knee, but it didn't work quite the same way. It was weird. And the medium and the heavy version, which were the ones that did extra damage, they didn't knock down, so they weren't very good for combos.
Yeah, like you don't want to use Street Fighter 4 as a good example for anything for DJ.
Yeah,
but ST, I used a lot of sweeps as kind of like my bazooka knee-esque attack, to maintain my charge. And I just swept a lot, and then I had my Sobot, my fireball, kind of every down charge on everything. But yeah, I'm going to assume in Street Fighter 6 mirror they're going to change up the Sobot kick a lot. There might even be, with his trait that we'll discuss, maybe might even enhance it in some way too. So
yeah,
I'm sure they're going to mix this one up.
If they were to make this character a hybrid character, this would be one of the moves that would turn into a motion. I think it would improve the usability of the Sobot so much.
This next special move, I'm so happy this is back, Mir. It's the machine gun uppercut.
Machine gun uppercut! Drumming up a beatdown! The rapid fire fist sends them up, dazzles them with a flurry!
So this is a DJ's mash uppercut. You charge down, you press up and punch, and then DJ will do an uppercut, and then depending on how much you mash, Mir, it will change the amount of hits. And this is the move you were talking about when you're saying a jump and can basically be a TKO and you can dizzy the opponent. Yeah,
I mean, this move is interesting because, like you said, it has a mash property, and we haven't really seen mash moves of this kind, at least, in quite some time. I guess Abigail's smash is the last thing that I can think of that was similar to this. So maybe they could make it so that, if you don't mash it, you get Oki. If you mash it, it goes full screen for extra damage and such.
Right.
There's no stun in Street Fighter 6, right? So obviously the stunning property of this, at least from the Street Fighter 2 days, is going to be gone.
Right.
So they have to compensate with something else. Probably be used in juggles and such to pick up something. Or maybe the OD version is a launcher, a little bit like Dan's punches in Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Because in Street Fighter 4, you could use it to combo into Ultra 2, if I remember correctly, by doing a walk Ultra. So that was a powerful setup, but, it was difficult to land because it didn't have a lot of range. I assumed that a lot of these issues would be fixed in Street Fighter 6. Because, again, I guess to go back to the reason why poor DJ wasn't so good, it wasn't even the fact that his tools were bad. It's just that it was so reliant on charge, and yet he didn't have any combo that naturally built charge. So he had to compromise so much that he ended up doing no damage.
There's some redundancy with his machine gun uppercut. You would imagine this would be like an anti-air move, but he's got his jackknife. Machine gun uppercut was like his really good damaging ender. It was just so hard to combo into, like you said. I'm sure Street Fighter 6 would be way more easier to combo into this time around. And I'm sure this is going to be kind of his move that gives you a lot of flexibility on what you want to do next, how you want to set up the opponent if it knocks them up, especially the OD version. And it is a pretty original move in Street Fighter 2, just the combination of charging and mashing. And, thinking now, Mir, in Ultra Street Fighter 4 with DJ's Ultra 2, that was also a very strange motion. I think it was like charge and then half circle back up forward or something. Like it was a
I don't
weird
actually
motion.
remember if it was a delta motion or not. I know that
Yeah.
you could do it walking. That's as much as I remember.
It's odd. It's a very odd move, but it looks cool. So I'm really glad that this special move is returning. So the next move is very interesting, Mir, and it ties in with our assumption that maybe he could possibly be a hybrid. This move is called Waning Moon.
Brings down the waning moon on him. The overhead breaks the rhythm and shakes things up.
And this was actually an Omega mode DJ move. And to describe it, he's basically doing like an overhead kick. It's kind of like Elena's mallet axe kick move. I would
Mallet
compare
smash? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It's a half circle back kick motion, guys. It's not a charge, and it doesn't knock down either, even the EX version. So what do you think about this move being in Street Fighter 6?
I mean, it makes sense because a lot of characters seem to have overheads. The only one we were a little bit unsure about is we don't know if Honda's down forward heavy kick is back to being an overhead, but otherwise, everyone else might have one.
Yeah.
Dawson might have his old overhead back and such, and obviously he has all kinds of instant overheads and whatnot. It would make sense that DJ would get an overhead, right?
Yeah.
And in Omega, this move is quite slow, but it's safe. Right. The idea being that you can use it to hop over lows, and only the EX version is actually an overhead, and you can combo out of it. So it'd be interesting to see how he could apply it in Street Fighter 6, because obviously there's punish counters, right? So if this is the kind of move that you can use to hop over a low and then score a punish counter and then combo off of it, it could be very valuable. Again, especially combined with the Sobat, which also has low evasion.
Yeah.
Let's say maybe the Sobat is still charged, then you could use this one while you're moving instead to hop over a low and score a punish that way. Hopefully it's not like Elena's where it's full screen pretty much and 16 frames. Yeah, that'd be
sick.
Yeah, that'd be kind of whack.
I just like this move here because it distinguishes him from Guile, and the more kind of moves like that, the better. I think it is.
Yeah,
good.
Absolutely. I agree.
So we're now up to the 6th special move, Mir, and I'm kind of combining a lot of lines with this one. I'm thinking this move is called Just Cool, but I don't know for sure. And I'll read off some lines with this one. So if this is a special move, Mir, that means that DJ has a lot of attacks this time around in Street Fighter 6.
And it'd be consistent with the rest of the cast, right? Like everyone's got something extra.
Exactly. So one of these lines is up into the air off the Just Cool. Just Cool into the low kick.
Up into the air off the Just Cool. Just Cool into the low kick.
So right away, this looks like a move that can lead into different enders and might be some kind of stance or like combination attack. And it seems to launch them as well because up into the air off the Just Cool.
Yeah, I could see this being a move that has 3 or more follow-ups. Like maybe you do heavy kick and that's the one that launches in the air. The medium kick is the low kick, and then the light kick could be a feint or a cancel, right? And you could use this in strings to maybe try and set up some pressure, for example. You could use it in combos, like you were saying, especially with Drive Rush, to pick up a juggle and extend your combo. We have no idea how it looks aside that it seems to have these properties. So it might have more follow-ups as far as we know.
Yeah, and it's brand new. So there's some other lines too, Mir, that I'm just going to squeeze this in with this move. I'm not sure if it's the same. But one is the overhead breaks the rhythm and shakes them up. This could possibly be a waning move quote, but it's basically another mix-up, so I tied it in with that. Then there's fake out, fakes it, sways, and feints.
The overhead breaks the rhythm and shakes things up. Fake out. Fakes it. Sways? Feints?
So there might be some kind of juke in the sense that, DJ might approach and not attack at all and then go for a throw. Or something he can use, Mir, maybe to advance forward, like you were talking about, criticizing before about him having problems advancing while charging. Could be a lot of things with this.
I guess before moving on to the next section, I would like to mention that this is unfortunately something that we don't hear from the quotes because they don't really mention normals very much. But one of the DJ's unique attacks that really changed the way he played, especially in Street Fighter 4, was the knee shot, which was down and light kick in midair. And it altered his jump arc pretty substantially. It allowed him to do a very short jump. And it was basically the crux of his mix-up because he could use it to fake a cross-up or do a real cross-up, and it was difficult to defend against. Yeah, into 0 damage. But it was a real vortex that just needed 25 hits to kill you.
Honestly, it's kind of like a ghetto Dan kick that can cross up. That's like the best description of it.
Yeah, a little bit. But in Omega Street Fighter 4, they actually got rid of the jump altering property of this move, instead turning it into a move that juggles you if it hits you in the air. And it is a very active move. So if someone jumps away, they might get hit and, be juggled into an up kick or something.
Right.
So I wonder which version they're going to have for Street Fighter 6, because jump altering moves, they can potentially be very dangerous, especially if they're safe.
Yes.
Right? Dangerous as in for the health of the game. As we see, dive kicks have a lot of commitment in Street Fighter 6, especially because you have to do them from 4 jumps. It'd be interesting to see if DJ would be one of the characters that would have a lower risk Sora dive kick. Or, like I said, if they just turned it into a juggling move, and they could be using it for combos maybe as well.
So let's move on, Mir. Let's talk about this mystery unique trait. I don't know 100% if it is a unique trait, Mir. It's just there's a lot of lines that describe this, and it could be part of something, some type of new ender that he might have. So I think it's called Speedy Maracas. And this sounds awesome, by the way, for DJ. Just seeing with the maracas, because we know that from his win pose. And there's a lot of lines here that insinuate that it's going to be some kind of stock system. Saw an opening to bust out the maracas. Speedy Maracas, they really want to get this party started. Don't pass up the chance for an SA charge with Speedy Maracas. SA being super art. And bust out the maracas. Yo, you want to play that game?
Saw an opening to bust out the maracas. Speedy maracas! They really want to get this party started. Doesn't pass up the chance for an SA charge with Speedy maracas. Bust out the maracas! Yo, you gonna play that game? That souped up Sobot smokes them extra hard.
In my head, there's a couple of possibilities. One, it's that something that's very similar to G's speech in Street Fighter 5, where you can kind of like tag it at the end of combos. Of course, in G's case, is alternative to the leveling up. So it's possible this would be the same thing. Like you use it at the end of a combo, maybe you can cancel a special into the Speedy Maracas. Every other character that we've seen doesn't have anything like that. The only one would be Jamie, but it gives him drive instead if he is at maximum level with his drink. Right. So that could be unique. Another thing that I could see, if it is a stock system, is that every time you get one charge of Speedy Maracas, is that it basically is a multiplier to your meter gain, in the sense that it kind of like applies a percentage extra meter every time you would gain meter. So it could be a little bit like that mechanic that it's in Guilty Gear, which I think it's called positive bonus. I don't particularly remember, but basically, you get meter faster. So maybe that's what it is. It's like if you manage to score multiple knockdowns and your combo in Speedy Maracas, then you would have a lot of meter to spend on supers, because you'd be incentivized to keep
spamming,
going on and spending it so that you can get it back faster.
I don't think just gaining meter is interesting enough, though. I hope it changes some of the properties of his attacks as well. We see one line that says that souped up Sobot smokes them extra hard. So maybe he buffs up some of his moves as well, and maybe that's what gives him the option to feint and fake out the opponent too. Unfortunately, with this trade, there's just not enough information, Mir, that tell us like exactly what it does. We just know he has something unique about him with maracas, which I'm excited to see. But I mean, let us know what your guys' thoughts on what it could be in the comments below. I'm sure you guys have some ideas on what it could be. So moving on, Mir, to the last section, we're going to discuss his supers now. I was able to identify 2 supers for sure, definitely his level 3 and possibly his level 2, but his level 1 was a little tricky. There was only 2 lines I can find that would be his level 1, and that is the greatest Sobots.
The greatest Sobot! Can they build off of it? Tunes up the band and hits the greatest Sobots!
This is probably his level 1 because there's not that many lines on it, and his previous supers in previous games were like, Sobot Carnival, Sobot Festival, between Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 4.
Assuming that this is, again, a Sobot super, then it would make sense because a lot of level 1 supers tend to have some anti-projectile utility. A little bit of invulnerability like that would go long ways to help DJ fight another character that has fireballs, especially if it is turned into a motion. It might have some forward movement and it'd be, very useful to score a knockdown. Obviously, you could tag it at the end of a combo, which also makes sense because Sobot is one of his combo enders.
And we know there's a couple of characters that can get buffed. They can buff their level 1s, such as, Ryu, Kimberly, or Jury. And it's possible that the Speedy Maracas might also buff up his Sobot from the greatest Sobots with his level 1 as well, which we see a line. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Now, Mir, his level 2, we've been talking about how DJ has some interesting execution techniques, whether it's his Ultra 2 or the Machine Gun Upper. This Sunrise Festival also sounds interesting. So we're assuming this is level 2, Mir, Sunrise Festival, because of the unique kind of utility trait that it seems to have. So what do you make out of this, Mir? It says Sunrise Festival, can you nail the beat? Can they ride the beat to the end? And you gotta nail the inputs to keep this up.
Sunrise Festival. They've got to nail the inputs to keep this up. Sunrise Festival. Can they nail the beat? Sunrise Festival. Can they ride the beat to the end?
Right. So this is interesting. This super seems to imply that there's some executional requirement to all of this, in the sense that DJ has to correctly input the follow-ups so that you can get better damage, better juggles, maybe something at the end. That's pretty unique. And a friend of ours shouted immediately that comes from Darkstalkers, because there's a character in Darkstalkers, Lilith, which has a super very much like this, where she also has to nail the inputs to do more damage. Now, this is interesting because it's a way of showing really the mastery that you have for the character. You know, if you're really good at the super and landing all the inputs, a way to show off, but also something that could be especially advantageous for DJ, because we're supposing at least that you're spending 2 bars on this. So having the opportunity to combo after, maybe with even another super, could be really strong, assuming that the execution requirement is not too high and it's not something unreasonable, right?
I wonder what the animation is going to look like, Mir, because, Lilith's super is quite a spectacle, and you can see, the inputs and stuff. For Street Fighter 16 DJ dancing, I'm sure it's going to look wacky and crazy. And
the Dance Revolution inputs appear on screen.
I'm sure it'll be super hyped, something DDR rhythm game based or Beat Mania based. And I think it would be really hyped during EVO, because you're going to be nervous in a tournament, and you can do it a million times at home, 10 times in a row. But when you're in the thick of a match and you need it to get lethal, I think it'll be very exciting to watch as a crowd cheers as you nail your inputs. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, especially if they're different every time, right? Like mentioning DDR, maybe you have to dynamically do different inputs as opposed to always the same every time.
Yes,
it would definitely be in tune with his dance background, so I could totally see that being the case.
Super cool. I hope that's what it is, and I kind of want more characters to have stuff like this. I think that's always sick. I want things to make players choke in tournaments.
Yeah,
I just want something to make people stop talking about Evil Moment 37. Something else that's and just something to top it off.
Wait for Evil Moment 420. We're gonna get there at some point.
Yeah, we will. So this last super, I think we're both in agreement here. We think this is a level 3. This is called Weekend Pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the weekend! Time to punch out! The party's getting started! Weekend Pleasure! We're in for a good time! Burns the gauge and it's showtime! It's the Weekend Pleasure! Go get up to get down! Spins it all on the full meter! You know what that means? It's time for the weekend!
A very strange name, but for this one, we have absolutely no details on what this super does or what it looks like. All we know is that DJ's getting the party started. It's the weekend, apparently, and it's showtime. Seriously, guys, we have nothing. If you listen to the lines, there is nothing to go for on this at all. You want to talk about your ass mirror on this one?
Well, I mean, it says time to punch out, so I assume fists are involved.
Okay, that's good. You got something. That's good. That's more than what I got.
It costs meter. I know that much.
When I first heard these lines, I pictured Daniel Craig walking out on Saturday Night Live. I don't know. It was just really strange the way it started. But ladies and gentlemen, it's the weekend. I don't know.
Yeah, I almost imagine DJ kind of challenging you to a dance off, and then he beats you because he's obviously better than you.
It's gonna have some kind of crazy animation on the DJ stage where everyone's gonna dance.
Especially crazy. The critical art. I wonder what that's gonna look like.
I know. I hope the music is great too. It probably he might have something similar to Kimberly as well, where he might get kind of buff after he gets the party started. Where he gets speed and damage. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
It'd be interesting to see, especially combined with the maracas.
So after breaking down all the audio lines, Mira, I guess we can say that it feels like DJ will be different than his Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 4 iteration. Once again, I hope that he's at least a hybrid character, and I hope they distinguish him as much as they can from Guile. And it seems like his personality and stuff is going to fit the Street Fighter 6 theme very well. And DJ, man, he's making a comeback. Like I said, I'm very surprised this character is in the game, especially so early in a starting roster.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, I feel like his design is pretty good, to be honest. It's quite iconic visually. Obviously, like you said, this personality really shines through. And they have an opportunity for him to make him really interesting, even in the story mode, right? Well, you're probably gonna find him at his DJ booth on the shore,
Yes.
just entertaining the people. You know, and might send you on some quests,
Right.
because that's obviously a big part of the original roster, or by original I mean the one that we're gonna get at the game's release, right? Because there's gonna be a lot of characters that are gonna be present in World Tour as well.
Yes.
So, like you said, DJ just fits very well, and it's just an opportunity to rework him into something that is more unique and hopefully higher tier.
Hopefully much higher tier.
It'll make a lot of DJ players happy, I'm sure, and newer players alike too. Just to have more tools and things to play with, and just have a character that is finally more unique than just being another Guile, right?
Right. And, guys, let us know in the comments below what you guys think about DJ. Are you guys thinking about picking him up? Are you guys interested in him now, especially after listening to all these lines? DJ, even though he wasn't a popular character, Capcom didn't remake the character like they did with a lot of other unpopular characters, right? They just enhanced DJ and basically owned it and went all the way. So let's see how this turns out for it. And Mir, I gotta say, it's been a pleasure, man, breaking down all these videos with you. We're finally coming to a close now. Yeah, it's been a long journey. Let's hope that something else gets data mined and we can start breaking down some more stuff in the future, guys. But I hope you enjoyed all these long discussions. They were a lot of fun to do. Okay, guys, so we'll keep you guys posted on more Street Fighter 6 news in the future. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.